Greetings, I'm Amy, a 41-year-old wife and mom. My husband Samuel and I recently hosted a family event at our home to welcome back my brother-in-law, Uncle Jason. Jason had just completed a 6-year stint in prison, wrongly accused and imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. It took a prolonged legal battle to finally review his case properly and secure his exoneration. The atmosphere was charged with excitement as we prepared to reunite the family. The party was in full swing, and Jason, the center of attention, shared stories from his time behind bars. Laughter and animated conversations filled the air as everyone enjoyed the festivities. Jason reconnected with my daughter Sandra, with whom he had a special bond before the unfortunate incident that led to his incarceration. After the event, as the excitement lingered and guests departed, we were grateful for the chance to see Jason alive, happy and free after his unjust imprisonment. Life returned to its usual rhythm, and it seemed like the storm of family drama had temporarily subsided. However, the elation after Jason's return was short-lived. A few days later, as I sat engrossed in a book in the living room, Sandra burst in with a look of fear and anger. Startled, I rushed to her side to find her in tears. She revealed a shocking discovery: a hidden camera in one of her plants. My heart sank at the violation of my daughter's privacy. Anger surged within me, but I had to remain calm for Sandra's sake. Together, we examined the room and found a tiny camera concealed in the lush foliage of her favorite plant, invading her personal space and sense of security. How long had that camera been in place? A wave of repulsion, fear, and anger surged within me. Without hesitation, I dialed Samuel, my voice quivering with a mix of emotions, and disclosed the shocking news. "Samuel, you won't believe what I've just uncovered. There's a concealed camera in Sandra's room. We need to address this immediately," I declared. His response resonated with a blend of concern and indignation. "I'll be right there, Amy. We're not going to let this slide. Our daughter deserves her privacy, and whoever is responsible for this will face the consequences." As we anticipated Samuel's arrival, Sandra clung to me, her tears soaking my shirt. She blamed herself for not detecting the intrusion sooner, but I reassured her that it wasn't her fault. I pledged to stand by her side and unravel this disturbing ordeal. When Samuel finally joined us, his eyes reflected our emotions, a smoldering rage veiled by a composed demeanor. We meticulously examined the camera, scouring for any clues that could lead us to the perpetrator. It was a breach of trust that cut deep, and we were resolute in our quest for the truth. The invasion of our sanctuary shattered the illusion of safety we had constructed around our family. We had to act swiftly for our daughter's well-being and to preserve our sense of security. If Sandra found one camera in her room, who knew how many others might be lurking around our dwelling? "We won't rest until we uncover who did this, Sandra. Don't you worry," Samuel reassured her. "Thanks, Mom. If you don't mind, could I please nap in the guest room? I don't feel comfortable in mine, and I'm exhausted right now." "Of course, my baby. Do what makes you feel comfortable. I'm so sorry." Sandra shuffled to the guest room, undoubtedly seeking some alone time after her privacy had been maliciously invaded. "We'll review the footage, gather any evidence we might find, and involve the authorities if necessary. No one messes with our family like this," I declared. Although shaken, I found solace in our unified stance. Samuel and I sat down in the quiet of our living room, the gravity of the situation hanging heavily in the air. Our minds raced with thoughts, attempting to piece together the puzzle of who could have planted the hidden camera in Sandra's room. As we explored the possibilities, one name surfaced and lingered: Jason. I broached the topic cautiously, trying to maintain a level voice. "It's hard to ignore the timing. The camera was likely planted during the family gathering, and who had the opportunity? Jason." "Amy, you can't seriously think Jason would stoop so low." "Yes, he made some mistakes in the past, but he's not a creep. He's my brother, for crying out loud," Samuel defended. I understood Samuel's reaction. Family ties run deep, and the notion of suspecting one's kin of such a violation is unfathomable. Nevertheless, I couldn't ignore the puzzle pieces aligning with Jason's presence at the family gathering. The transformative impact of prison on individuals was evident, and the prolonged interactions between Sandra and Uncle Jason raised concerns for both Samuel and me, even if Samuel was reluctant to acknowledge them. Organizing my thoughts, I addressed Samuel with a gentle yet resolute tone. "Samuel, I realize it's difficult to entertain, but we must confront the reality. Jason spent considerable time with Sandra during the gathering, suggesting a certain level of interest. Let's not overlook the fact that he recently emerged from prison. People change, and their actions are shaped by their experiences. We must safeguard our daughter, even if it means scrutinizing those closest to us." Under the weight of the situation, Samuel's shoulders slumped, torn between loyalty and the harsh facts. Gradually, he nodded, his voice conveying a mixture of resignation and discomfort. I don't want to believe it, Amy, but you're right. The timing is unsettling, and it's challenging to dismiss. We need to uncover the truth for Sandra's sake. The prospect of confronting Jason about this betrayal weighed on our conscience, but it was imperative. The sanctity of our home and our daughter's well-being hung in the balance. As we braced ourselves for the challenging task ahead, we pledged to approach it with caution and compassion. Days turned into nights, and Samuel remained torn between loyalty to his brother and the unsettling suspicion lingering in the air. The gravity of the situation strained our relationship with Jason, casting a shadow over our family. Navigating the uncertain waters, a plan took shape in my mind, a risky yet necessary strategy to catch the culprit in the act. Presenting the idea to Samuel, I explained that hosting another family gathering could be the key to uncovering the truth. Consider this, Samuel. Whoever planted that camera would likely seize any opportunity to retrieve it. This event, intended for family togetherness, provides the perfect chance for the culprit to strike again. Samuel hesitated, emotions entangled in conflicting loyalties. However, as I laid out the logic and urgency of our situation, he eventually agreed that we needed to explore all possibilities before involving authorities. It was a tough decision, but one essential for safeguarding our family and restoring our sense of security. I dialed Emma's number, Jason's wife, while lifting the phone. Hello, Emma. We're thinking about organizing another family get-together. Just checking if you and Jason would be available. Emma's response was surprisingly enthusiastic. She readily agreed, expressing excitement for yet another family gathering. This caught me off guard, as she was usually reserved. Nevertheless, I set aside those thoughts, attributing her behavior to a genuine love for family bonding. With the plans in motion, Samuel and I immersed ourselves in preparations. Our home buzzed with anticipation and unease once again. Every nook and cranny underwent thorough checks for signs of intrusion. We aimed to create an atmosphere of normalcy, concealing our true intentions beneath layers of hospitality and warmth. The stakes were high, and the fate of our family hung in the balance. As the day of the gathering approached, a mix of anxiety and determination engulfed me. We were navigating uncertain territory, prepared to confront whatever awaited us at the other end, all in the name of safeguarding our daughter and preserving the sanctity of our home. The day arrived, and our family members' familiar faces filled our home. The air crackled with anticipation, but beneath the surface, tension simmered. Uncle Jason, always charismatic, greeted everyone with charm, but his warmth met icy reserve from both Samuel and me. Suspicion hung heavily between us, casting a somber shadow over the event. To ensure Sandra's safety and shield her from potential harm, we made the tough decision to keep her away from the gathering by arranging a sleepover at a friend's place. We reassured her it was for the best, not disclosing the true nature of our concerns. With her absence, our focus sharpened, and we committed to keeping a vigilant eye on anyone heading in the direction of Sandra's room. As the party unfolded, laughter and conversation masked our underlying mission. Samuel and I played the role of gracious hosts while discreetly scanning the crowd for any signs of suspicious behavior. Our detective work was on point. As the night progressed, with the rhythm of music and dance providing a backdrop to our covert agenda, I couldn't help but notice Emma's peculiar movements. She frequently excused herself, hurrying off to the bathroom. My instincts sharpened, and an uneasy feeling lingered. Driven by curiosity, I decided to approach her. Following discreetly as Emma headed toward the bathroom once again, my heart pounded. To my surprise, instead of entering the bathroom, she diverted into Sandra's room. A surge of panic enveloped me, prompting me to confront her and acknowledge the concealed truth within her actions. Advancing, I called out her name, my voice blending accusation and concern, reflecting the conflicting emotions within me. Emma, what are you doing in Sandra's room? Emma Turner was startled, her eyes searching the room for an escape, but the truth had nowhere to hide. The silence thickened between us, laden with unspoken accusations. I asked you a question, Emma. What are you doing in my daughter's room? Emma's composure faltered, tears welling up in her eyes. Her voice trembled as she explained. I was looking for Sandra. I was surprised she didn't join us for the festivities. You were looking for her in her drawers? Emma looked down, realizing her hands were still rooted in the drawer. I can explain. Save it. The one we least expected, whom we had staunchly defended, had betrayed our trust. Disbelief and disappointment filled the room. I beckoned Samuel over, who assumed we had caught Jason, but was shocked to see Emma. "You planted that camera, didn't you? Why, Emma, why would you do such a thing?" Samuel called Jason over, urgency in his voice. Jason, puzzled, hurried to the room asking, "What's going on?" As Jason entered, his eyes met Emma's tearful gaze. Samuel closed the door, shielding the unfolding drama from the party. I took a deep breath, explaining the shocking camera discovery and the invasion of privacy. My words hung, heavy with truth. "We organized this gathering to catch the camera culprit. Honestly, we suspected you initially, Jason." "I'm sorry, bro. I never should have doubted you. I fought with paranoia." "It was mainly me who accused you, Jason. After catching Emma, I knew you had nothing to do with it." Jason sought answers from Emma. "Why were you in Sandra's room?" "We found Emma rummaging through Sandra's belongings. She left the camera." "Emma, explain why you did this." Emma sought solace in Jason, but his shock mirrored the room. "Fine, you caught me. I left the camera. I was coming to retrieve it. We know that. We've apprehended you, and we're seeking an explanation. It's because I'm envious, all right." The atmosphere hung heavy with Emma's confession, laying bare her motives for all to witness. She acknowledged, with a mix of shame and frustration, that her actions were fueled by jealousy towards Sandra. The sight of Jason and Sandra engaging in frequent conversation during the previous family gathering sparked envy within her. She questioned what made Sandra so special, what drew Jason's attention and affection towards her. Jason couldn't resist interjecting, his tone a mix of defensiveness and genuine concern. "Emma, I love Sandra, but not in a creepy way. Being an uncle is significant to me. I was just checking up on Sandra, ensuring she was doing well out of love and family concern. Nothing sinister or inappropriate. You know that." "Why were you always praising Sandra, going on about how amazing she is and how well she's doing in school? It made me wonder what was so special about her." "So you're upset because I'm a proud uncle, Emma? Is there something wrong with that? I have every right to appreciate and support Sandra. It's genuine love for my niece, not favoritism. I didn't think you'd feel this way." Navigating through the emotional tension, I turned to Emma. "What did you hope to uncover by planting the camera? What were you expecting to find?" "I just wanted to see how Sandra lives her life. Maybe if I understood her better, I could gain the same praise and attention from you, Jason. I wanted to feel valued like her." "You're a creep, Emma. Jealous of a teenager. How low can you sink? This is beyond messed up." After an awkward silence, Samuel wisely ended the party. The last thing we needed was to continue after discovering Emma's true nature, the resident creep of the year. With the room cleared, only Samuel and I grappled with the aftermath of Emma's escapade. It wasn't pretty. I unleashed a verbal barrage on Emma, who had planted a camera in her niece's room, sick in the head. Jason, poor Jason, stood there like a lost puppy, disappointment all over his face. He couldn't fathom what twisted game his beloved wife was playing. I might be equally dumbfounded if my better half turned out to be a grade-A lunatic. After the tumultuous aftermath and the depletion of our emotions, Samuel and I discovered ourselves seated in what used to be our joyful home, now marred by the malevolent deeds of a single family member. The following day, upon Sandra's return, the responsibility fell on me to divulge the unsettling details and unveil the entire distorted truth. Tears filled Sandra's eyes as I narrated the egregious breach of her privacy. The unsuspecting and innocent young woman struggled to comprehend that someone within her own family could sink to such depths. With trust shattered, her world underwent a sudden and disorienting upheaval. Struggling with hurt and confusion, she managed to choke out the words, her voice trembling. "Mom, I never thought that anyone would do this to me, Emma, seriously." I shook my head, unable to comprehend it. "Believe me, none of us saw this coming. Emma's gone off the deep end for sure." With Sandra in my arms, her tears staining my shoulder, I made her a promise. We were going to fight back. Pressing charges was just the beginning. Emma needed a reality check, and we were more than willing to deliver it. Her eyes, filled with tears, locked onto mine, seeking comfort. "Mom, what about Uncle Jason? How's he holding up?" I exhaled heavily. The burden of our fractured family was palpable in the atmosphere. To be frank, he's struggling. The notion of celebrating his newfound freedom is overshadowed by the realization that he's tethered to someone he perceives as mentally unstable. "So, is he going to get a divorce?" "I don't know, sweetheart. I despise what she's done to this family. Right now, our main concern is your safety. We're pursuing a restraining order against Emma to ensure she doesn't even contemplate crossing your path again. We're also in the process of pressing charges and obtaining a restraining order against Emma, the intrusive woman with the camera. Meanwhile, the once unbreakable connection between Jason and our family remains strained, shattered by the weight of this unfathomable betrayal. A somber and uneasy silence lingers, a stark reminder of how deep the roots of jealousy can penetrate. Yet despite the pain, we stand resolute, committed to rebuilding, healing, and finding comfort in the love and support of those who truly matter. The journey to recovery may be lengthy and challenging, but we are prepared to confront whatever challenges lie ahead, armed with the knowledge that our family's resilience will ultimately triumph.